Christmas going. We are live, boop, 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 boop. Ladies and gentlemen.
Boo, boo. I don't
Hey.
know what mine was. Not a regular air horn.
No, there's a very special kind of
Mine's like
air
the
horn.
rip off you get on Canal Street. Sorry. What?
Canal Street. Let's go back. Let's go to Canal Street right now.
Okay.
I am so excited. This podcast has been so much fun. Jumping into this in the pandemic has been so much fun. I'm especially excited today though because I have someone that I know personally who I love so much, who was a fan of before I knew her, and you all know her from, well, first of all, she's one of all of our favorite singers on literally this or any planet. And head over heels on Broadway, Gigantic the musical, Kinky Boots, and of course we're gonna get into it, the one night only performance of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that literally changed musical theater history
It was off the
forever.
rails. Yeah.
It's Bonnie Milligan.
Hey.
How are you? Loaded
Dude,
question.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really excited right now. I had something to do today. This is amazing.
My friend who's like not in the theater world called me today and she was like, how are you getting all of these guests for this? Because I mean, I had Diana DeGarmo, like
I
American Idol, like you, Eden Espinosa. She's like, how are you getting these people? And I was like, I think everyone in the world is just excited to have something to
You're
do.
amazing and wonderful, first of all, friend. But
Thank
secondly,
you. Thank you.
it's 2020.
we
We need
need
it. We
we
need
need
it.
it. We
We need
need
it.
it. In 2020, what are you watching right now? How are you getting through this? What are your shows and movies?
I've been doing a lot of like old rewatches. Like lately, my brain capacity doesn't take in new information well. I keep like being like, whoops, I went to my phone. I missed that. Rewind. And it takes me like 4 hours to watch an hour and a half movie. Um, what I just watched today, Over the Moon on Netflix.
Uh,
Oh, it's really beautiful. It's an animated film and it's got like Ruthie Ann Miles and Philippa Sue
oh my gosh.
and yes, Kathy Ang, Kimiko Glenn, Margaret Cho,
It's a
Conor
musical?
Brakamora. Yes. And it's really touching and beautiful. And I got very emotional and cried a lot. It's fine.
Wait, that sounds phenomenal. I cannot wait to
It's
watch
so
that.
good. So I watched that
Every
today.
person you just named is someone that I would pay $8 million to
Yeah,
see
they're all
live in concert.
amazing. Thank you.
No, thank
Thanks.
you. No, thank
No,
you.
thank you.
No,
Um,
Bonnie, thank you.
so that was my obsessed day. I've also, it's like October. So I've been watching like Halloween Town, all of them, of course, again. Twitches 1 and 2 again. I mean, these are things we've clearly watched
I
many times
cannot
before.
get my gay boyfriend to watch Twitches, and I've been trying so hard. He somehow missed that one. That he I don't. I'm trying to explain to him how important twins are in the Halloween
It's
season.
important.
He
Yeah,
won't watch that, and he won't watch Over the River into no. That's the Christmas one. He
that's
won't
Christmas. But
double
Double
toiling
Double
trouble.
Toil and Trouble just went up on Hulu. I didn't know. I'm gonna rewatch that.
Bonnie, what? Cancel the live.
It's on Hulu.
I need to go watch that right now.
As I was breezing through, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I can't believe it's up. It's up. It's up.
That movie is so wonderful.
I mean,
Do you have
Hocus Pocus, The Screams, all of those. That's been like my
the
watching.
screams? You know what we rewatched just the other night?
I
Scary
don't.
Movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that in forever. So funny.
So funny. Really, I mean, some problematic stuff, but for the most part, really,
Oh,
really holds up. Really
I
funny.
haven't seen it in a million years.
The opening shot is Carmen Electra picking up the phone, going hello, and then farting. It's so wonderful.
Nice. Nice.
Do you have a favorite? Were you a Mary Kate and Ashley person growing up?
Yes.
Oh my god. Do you have a favorite of their films?
You know, I recently, months ago now, but it feels like years ago, but at the same time feels like yesterday. Because Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Uh I watched Billboard Dad,
That's
which
my
is
favorite one.
amazing. And I was like, and it literally inspired me to be like, should I be watching all of their movies again? Because it was just like, oh, childhood.
On my 31st birthday, I had a bunch of friends over and made everyone watch billboard down.
When they take like the cans of paint and it's like one of white and one of red, and they're like, okay, and then it's like his photo, the number, the address. I was like, did you bring a witch up with you that was like, you can like, paint the background for me, and now I will put Photoshop up? Like, how did they do that? No one cares. Let's go.
Let's do it. That is an amazing part of that movie, but my other favorite part is when she's like, my mom isn't with us anymore, and so I became a diver because she was a ballerina, and this was the closest I could get. They don't have dance classes in California.
Go to the Y.
Diving
like, you don't even need to go to like a
closest
dancing studio.
No.
Like, go to the Y.
Diving is not the same as ballet.
Breath control. I don't know. What?
I don't know.
Maybe she's like posing ballet moves underwater, and she's like, this is the only way I can pair wet.
I had to have the water taking care of gravity for me. Do you remember the detective series?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Those are good. The SeaWorld one where they're like they're like trying to save a killer whale, I think.
It's so good.
Who stole the Great Hope Diamond? What killed the
Also, I remember
dinosaurs?
their first video, and that was the name of it. Mary-Kate and Ashley, our first video, had just a bunch of vignettes of them singing, and I definitely owned the VHS and had it memorized. And there was one song like Brother for Sale where they were trying to like sell off their little brother, and it was like, this is so funny.
But at the time, oh boy, was I slapping.
Who wrote that material for them though? Who was like, I've got an idea? Or did they like go into a meeting room? It's like, here are our ideas. Want to sell him. Can you write that? Thanks.
There's a big board behind them, like in Smash, and they're like, they're moving the different. It's this course board right
the
here.
Postcards. They're like, we gotta.
You have to, and then move this.
We need
here.
best book of a musical. How do we achieve it? Yeah, babe. Story.
Someone needed to work harder for them than titling it their first video.
Our first video.
Our first video.
So it's like, that's a working title. That'll work. And then somebody's like, actually, I love it.
Yeah, we're going for it. So, okay, I've heard Twitches. I've heard, the Halloween Towns.
The Halloween Towns. Debbie Reynolds. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
They're so ridiculous. I love them.
I did not remember. I've rewatched 1 and 2 this holiday season, and I did not remember that 2 is the best movie that's ever been written.
Is that the Calabar's Revenge or something? Calabar.
Calamari's Revenge.
Calamari's Revenge.
Calamari's Revenge. That's when you get really bad diarrhea.
Oh my God. I just watched this. This is how I go. I just off the rails. But sidebar, I watched on Netflix a documentary called My Octopus Teacher. And if you want to just sit and cry, go watch My Octopus Teacher.
Bonnie,
my God, Jessica Vosk told me to do it. And then I was Marco Poloing her, sobbing, and she was laughing. Which is fair.
She's a monster who we love.
I mean, she cried too. She laughed because she was like, I'm laughing because that's exactly what I did. But in one of the videos, I'm talking and all of a sudden I was like, oh God, I know it's squid, but I can't eat calamari anymore. Like just out of nowhere. I was like, I know it's not the same, but.
Wait, that's so true. I was doing this very podcast and my boyfriend was in the other room watching it. So I came out when the podcast was over and caught the last 30 minutes of it. And I couldn't move. It's so beautiful and tragic.
Yeah. But then also like a beautiful ending. And you're like, oh, nature. We don't want to give too much away in case people want to watch it. It's edge of your seat though, because there's sharks that try to hunt her. Let's freaking like Little Mermaid over here, but they're not fun.
Bonnie Milligan, sharks or no sharks? Do you like sharks or are you scared?
Oh, I'm scared, but like I'm fascinated. Like I love a Shark Week situation. I love to learn about it, but I'm also not someone who's DVRing. You're welcome. DVRing, is that a word? We're gonna go with it.
We're saying
Some people are like, I have spent my entire week waiting for Shark Week, and I'm like, okay, that's not me. But if it's on, I'm into it. But I'm terrified of the ocean because it's so vast, and you don't know what's down there.
Exactly. If dinosaurs came, honey, I could at least run. I know how to at least kind of like hide under a bed, right? There's stuff you can do.
Well, you're
In the
breathing the air around you
ocean?
too.
You're
The
breathing the
ocean.
air. In the ocean? You're
Also, why do whales breathe air and they're in the ocean?
yeah,
That
what's
creeps me
that?
out too.
What's that about?
Why do you need air?
In the comments, tell us why whales need air. Cause I
It's
don't like
literally
that.
that's
I
how they
don't like
function.
that.
It's just crazy to me that there are
That's
creatures that are that size. I mean, it's probably like evolution and dinosaurs, etc. But here's my thought: if a spider is in my house, and sorry for those of you that don't do this, I kill them.
murder it, dead. No, thank you.
And when I'm in the ocean, I'm essentially the spider in their house. So if they want to murder me, that is their right.
Yeah, and
That's
I
their right.
am scared of that. I'm scared of that.
I'm scared of that.
My older cousin
Whew.
Brett was terrified of sharks, and I remember in 1999 my mom saying, "Sharks aren't gonna bother you. They don't bother you if you don't bother them." 2 weeks later, all those shark attacks started happening. Remember in the early 2000s, it was
I
like
do remember this.
they just started coming for us. They said, oh, "I've had
Well,
enough."
sometimes they're hungry and you're just like out there like playing ball in the ocean. Play ball in the sand.
Stay on land, up where they walk, up where they run,
Okay.
up where they stay all day.
Reverse aerial it if you need to, folks. Like just think about it. Be your own King Triton because stay where you're meant to be.
Should we write a Little Mermaid where she's afraid of sharks? So
What a
that's why.
horrible, horrible analogy. Don't try to be anything more than where you are. Don't listen to me, anyone. But don't go to the ocean, okay?
I
Unless you
have
know what you're
some
doing.
shark movies for you, Bonnie. Have you?
Jaws.
Okay, Jaws. You guys ever heard of Jaws?
Have you ever heard of this film? It's independent. Yeah.
This little it squeaked right by. Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
obviously Jaws, but that's for real. A lot of these young children don't know Jaws. They gotta learn Jaws.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. I remember
It's
my
really good.
college screenwriting class. That was the movie that we like dissected as a perfect movie because it
Yeah.
is. It's so like they set up the danger so clearly and so perfectly in that first cold open. The music, the way that music plays in to
Music.
oh my god, you're a really good person to talk to about this. I've been having this conversation a
Thank
lot
you.
lately. Thank you. How music, because you are an amazing singer, amazing performer, amazing musician, and you're a
Thank
writer.
you. Mm-hmm.
How important music is to storytelling.
Oh my gosh. It's so important.
It's crazy how like Jaws might not even be good. I mean, it still would be good, but it wouldn't be what it is without that.
Yeah.
That music is what's scary about that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I was making a Hocus Pocus sketch this week, and I had like kind of fun, goofy music underneath, and then I changed it to suspense music, and it literally changed the whole thing from being. I was like, "Why isn't this working?" And then it suddenly was the most perfect sketch ever written by people.
Yes.
Back
By people.
by
Not animals.
people.
There are some animals that have written better, but I guess people
But
are
by
animals.
people.
But by people.
But the people. Okay, Jaws, 47 meters down.
Wait, is that the one? Uh, I feel like I watched this recently where they're like down in the cage gets like set free and it goes down. Hmm. Yeah.
Yes. It's Mandy Moore. And
Thank you. I was like, who is it? Mandy Moore.
it's Mandy Moore, and the cage snaps, or the wire snaps, and the cage drops 47 meters down, and then they have to get back up.
I feel like my vagina just dropped as you said it. It's so scary.
It's so scary. That movie is lit. And then there's a really spooky ooky scary one from probably like when we were in high school or something. It was called Open Water.
Oh my God. Yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. It's a couple. They're like abandoned on their scuba trip. Can y'all take a head count? Are you the oldest sister in Home Alone? Are you counting the neighbor? How did you miss it?
Kevin!
She also counts herself twice. Annoying. She's like, counts herself, counts a little neighbor, spook. Like, so who else was missing? I think they left someone else also, but
Those other kids, those other siblings in that feature film, bad.
oh, she's the
movie.
cousin. Her parents are the ones in France, right?
Yeah,
Heather.
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 You're what the French call les
Les
incompetents.
incompetents. Have you seen Circle Jerk live?
No, but everyone's talking
Okay.
about it. Tell me
There's
everything.
a reference to that in it, and I scream cackled. And I definitely watched it twice, and I scream cackled both times.
Okay, everyone watch Circle Jerk live. I need
They're doing it
to.
tomorrow too. So
They're doing a
tickets are
lot.
as cheap as $5. Go to there.
Go to there. Get that. Get
Go to
that.
there.
Get that. Get that
Get
image.
that. Yeah.
Get that. Um. uh, okay. We talked about sharks. I have a very
Wait,
special.
my other
Well,
favorite shark movie, just before we move on, I don't know the name of it. I'm so sorry. Blake Lively, a few years ago.
uh, It's
It
called Blake Lively on a Rock or something.
it was so good. And
Wait,
I
I need to
literally
see
like
that.
watched it at my house and was not, and I was with a friend, and I literally in the middle of the movie, I went, you know what? This is pretty good. This is a good shark movie. And he could not stop laughing because I was like, I didn't expect this to be this good.
So shocked.
I loved it. Anyway,
Wait,
yes,
I
next.
need to see that movie. I love sharks, but famously, my friend Nathan Ramos and I were watching the trailer for that movie, and he turned to me and said, "I don't want to see Blake Lively on a rock. I'll go to that movie when it's Helen Mirren on a rock."
Okay, I would go to that movie as well.
Imagine Helen Mirren in that movie, just being like, "I'm gonna kill this."
Imagine Blake Lively's been stranded on that rock so long that she's now turned into Helen Mirren, and that's the sequel.
Okay, pay us $1 million, Hollywood.
We'll write it. I just started.
Hello. Wait, Helen Mirren on a. I have one more shark movie.
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson,
Okay.
LL Cool J. Nobody
Have I
else
seen
famous.
this?
Deep
Wait.
Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. Seen it. Loved it.
That movie
Yeah.
is so scary and
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are on, they're like in a research facility and they
Yes.
are learning more about the brains of sharks because sharks have great brains. They're trying to cure Alzheimer's. And while they are doing that, they are, I think, injecting the sharks with something so that they become
That feels right.
too smart, maybe. I don't know, but the sharks figure out how to sink the facility they're on so that the whole thing goes underwater. And
It's less. It kind of sounds like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon at this point, but it's not. We promise.
it, it's not a cartoon. Wile
It's
E.
not
Coyote
Roadrunner.
cartoon,
But it's
it's as bananas as you're thinking it is.
but it's pretty great.
At one point, someone, I won't say who, is giving an amazing monologue speech about how we're all going to get out of this together, and a shark leaps into the air and eats him.
Yeah, I'm also somebody who enjoys bad movies, like giving me
Oh,
Sharknado. Have I seen them all? Yeah. Did I see Birdemic with some of the worst graphics and acting that has ever been?
what is
Yes.
Birdemic?
It's like a sci-fi original film, and it is literally just look it up later. It's the worst graphics, and people are so bad. And it's like, I made $5,000 in sales. And we was like really weird. That's somebody says that in an office, and you're like, what? I laughed through the whole thing. It was a great time.
That sounds truly wonderful.
Yeah.
Jason Eric Tessa. Hi, Jason. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
Says in the
Jason.
comments, Coraline is the best Halloween movie along with Hocus Pocus.
I've definitely watched Hocus Pocus a couple times because you have to. Always.
You really do. I've never seen Coraline.
I love Coraline. It's
Really?
so good. Terry Hatcher as the mom is pretty great.
I'm sold. I'm sold on that.
Okay, do you need more? Absolutely not.
Are you a Desperate Housewives sister?
I watched in the beginning, and then I trailed off. I didn't watch anymore, but I really loved it when it was first on.
Yeah, that's fair. That the pilot of that is unbelievable.
Yes.
Wait, I have a very special ookie spooky Halloween question for you.
Into it.
I've never asked this question on the podcast, but I'm so excited about it. Who are your witches? So if we were at a summer party together, who are the witches you want to play light as a feather, stiff as a board with us? I mean, this can be anyone. This can be Elphaba. It can be Bewitched, that lady. It could be
I just watched that last night, by the way, the Nicole Kidman Bewitched. I really love it. I do. I love it. Her and Kristen Chenoweth and
Will Ferrell.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Who are your witches?
Oh, that's good.
I'll go first
Well,
if you want to think
thank you. I
about it.
love that. Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay. I think I would want there to be. I'm gonna cap my witch intake at 5. You can have as many witches as you want. You could do one. You
Okay.
could do 30. I don't care.
Great.
But for my invites that I'm sending out, I'm only gonna send out 5 because I just kind of feel like more than 5, people are gonna start fighting about who's the supreme.
Yeah.
And okay, so I would say, speaking of supremes, I want Jessica Lange from the Coven.
Yeah.
Like she's got to be there for sure. And only her from that show. I think that's all I need. And then obviously Sabrina, the teenage.
Oh God, for sure.
And also we can have some overlap if you would want to invite some of these witches
Okay.
as well. And then I'm gonna include probably Nev Campbell from The Craft
Hmm.
because that's a great witch to have around, I think. And obviously I'm gonna bring an Elphaba in here. I need Alfie. And then I only get one more. I would say probably I'm gonna bring Kathy and Jimmy from Hocus Pocus.
Nice.
Those are my witches. Who are your witches? Who are the
Do I have to
witches
worry
that?
about how they might clash in a room together?
Hmm,
You know what I
that's a good.
mean?
That's a good point. That's a good
Okay.
point.
So I'll go for the other Supreme, which is Cordelia Good. You know,
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson,
Oh, everything.
everything.
So
I'm going
good.
to go with Cordelia Good. Um, I'm obsessed with Jessica Lange, but I'm just going to change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and along with her, Miss Frances Conroy, aka what was her name on there?
Red-headed lady.
Yes, I just loved her.
Oh, she's so
What was her
phenomenal.
name?
I can't remember either. Like something like Mildred or something. If you know in the comments, tell us who Frances
That's
Conroy
Mildred
played.
Ratchet. What was her name? That's really gonna bother me. Uh, oh dang.
Do you want me to look it up?
Okay, look it up while we're
I'm gonna look it
talking.
up.
Um, just because she was like her right hand lady, and we just love Frances Conroy, so bring her in.
The melon baller thing. That was like
She needed her
Myrtle
to have
Snow.
eyes. Myrtle Snow. How dare we not know
That's a
her name?
great name. That's a drag name.
Oh God. Okay. Then I'm gonna go with again, I'm gonna do a branch of what you said, but I won't say you're saying. I'm gonna do the ants from Sabrina because they're a good time.
Oh, you're right.
I'm
You're
having
so
the
right.
ants there.
Hilda and Zelda, we gotta have them.
Hilda and Zelda, bringing it in. See, I'm gonna have like a fun party of ladies. So then I'll bring in I'm gonna bring in Sarah from Hocus Pocus because she's also a good time. I could bring in Winnie, but I feel like it's gonna be too much. She doesn't want that many women around, especially beautiful women. So we're not gonna have her there.
All right.
But we're gonna have Sarah because she'll be very yes and.
You're so right.
This already feels like a great party.
Yeah.
And the Twitches.
And the Twitches. I knew you were gonna say that.
And Debbie Reynolds. That's my party.
And Debbie Reynolds. Oh my God, that's a hell of a party.
Oh my God, let's do this.
That sounds great, honestly.
Sounds so good.
Should we just write that fan fiction, in fact?
I mean, truly.
Matt Bruce in the comments said Myrtle Snow. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
for getting that for
I'm
us.
so sorry that I'm sorry, Miss Conroy.
I'm sorry, Miss Conroy. Can we talk a little bit? My friend Elizabeth McKenzie, who's a fan of this pod, thank you, Elizabeth, messaged me on Instagram and was like, please ask Bonnie about Joseph. And so
Yes.
I mean, when you walked in on the first day and saw that cast, this is how I would have done it. I would have been like, and then I would have drooled
Yeah.
all over my microphone.
Yeah.
Tell me about that experience.
I mean, when the press release hit, I was like, because I didn't know anything. It was very like, I agreed to do it. Agreed. I was like, absolutely. Are you joking me? Let's go. But I heard about it at the end of like months and months before, and I didn't know anybody else involved. And so it was just an immediate, absolutely yes. Michael Arden would like you to do this. It's going to be, at Lincoln Center, and they want you to sing Those Canaan Days. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And then I was at 54 Below, I think, wearing this shirt. Is that the same show? I don't know if this is fact, but I think I was doing the Breakup Playlist concert at 54 Below because Jessica Vosk was also in it. And that feels right. That feels right. And we were talking, and I was like, what's coming? She's got, I've got some exciting things coming up. I'm getting really excited. And I was like, what? Can you tell me anything? And she's like, well, okay, it's secret. And then she told me, and I was like, what? I'm doing that too. And she's like, and then we like got really excited together. So I knew that was her. And then I didn't know anybody else. I think she knew that Alex was doing it too. So then when the press release hit, I literally screenshotted. I sent it to all my friends. I was like, oh my God, this is the most absurd list I've ever seen in my life. It was so absurd. Like the smallest roles were all inhabited by Tony nominated actors. Like it was absurd. So because it's a one night only, you can like get Orfeh to come on and say like 3 words and run around the stage and be genius.
Yeah.
And be like, thank God I have that in my memory. Thank God. And also, I want to say in that rehearsal room, and I mean, it's like a fast, I don't even remember if we had 2 weeks or 1 week. It was crazy fast. 2. Is that right? It doesn't matter. Short time of rehearsal that Brooks, Ash Mankus, and Gavin Lee, and Andy Carl, and Orfeh, all 4 were some of the most like, they're already some of the most inspiring, brilliant musical theater performers that we have. And you would watch them off to the side, and they each kind of would come on and do 1 bit, and that's it. And they would be there for like a long rehearsal day because it was such a short process. We just kind of needed everybody around to like bop around. And at any time you would see Andy off trying to work on his Donald Trump impersonation. Potiphar. And then you have him and Orfeh like having like Orfeh grabbing Noah and them doing stuff, or Brooks and Gavin coming up with a million bits. And it was just like beyond inspiring to be like, the work is never done. They always had the best attitudes, and they were like so fun. And it was just, I'm just like in awe of them all over again, just from that process.
I love that so much. I love all of those people. I am such a super fan of Brooks. I have seen him in so many different things, and every
Yeah.
time I'm like, I actively like I, I've always struggled in the theater world with like and this is going to bring me to a very good segue into Head Over Heels. I've always struggled in the theater world with a lot of the comedy that I see. I'm always like, oh, what's happening here? And like Head Over
Yeah.
Heels was so, I didn't get to see it, but I've watched as many clips as possible, and I've heard so many people said it was so funny. And it is literally sends like a shot of adrenaline through me and excitement when I see like a theater person who's also just like nailing comedy.
Yeah.
And every time you see Brooks, it's literally like, how is he doing that? Like, how is he taking this piece? I saw him in a workshop of a show where there was only like 20 people in the room, and it sounded like we were in like an arena. We were all laughing so hard. Which brings me to Head Over Heels, which my friend Drew Drogi saw. He was like on his way to New York, and he was like, you just came from New York, like what should I see? And we were talking about all the different stuff, and he saw Head Over Heels, and when he came back, he was like, it was so funny. It was just made me feel so much joy. It was so great. Can you talk a little bit about that show?
I mean, I guess.
Twist my arm.
Oh, I love that show. It was just like the greatest joy to do that show. The company, there were 23 of us total that we truly turned into a family. And so it was just like honestly the most ultimate joy to come to work every day. And I had gorgeous costumes, but my God, they wreaked havoc on my body. And oh, that's even a sidebar of Joseph. I had fallen and sprained both of my ankles a week before we did Joseph. And so I was in a lot of physical pain.
Oh my
And I said,
God.
'cause we did a lot of choreography as the brothers. And I said, I'm going to do what I can. This is the first time I'm really kind of like walking a lot. So, and they were very patient with me, but it was a lot of pain every day, but that's how joyful it was, that I was worth every second. And head over heels, it was like a real corset. Um, and I had heels that at one point broke and kind of uh, ruined my feet a bit. Like I was in physical therapy kind of the whole time.
No.
I had something go in with my back where I have a part of my leg that I still can't feel fully. Like, and I had to have every test known to man to make sure I wasn't experiencing muscle death, which is fun. Um, I was like, what now?
Muscle
Uh,
death?
yeah, I went and they shot like electric pulses through my nerves. And I didn't know that's what they were doing, because they were doing it was like for your back. And I was like jumping off the table, like, what's happening? And they were like, okay, so that works. And I was like, what's like all the way through. And then I saw blood and they're like, oh, they put a needle in and they were putting, but nobody told me what they were
Jesus.
doing. So it was a lot. But it truly, it's a show that I was with from the very beginning, and dream come true to get to create a role on, for Broadway. That's like something that I've always wanted to do. It was glorious. And I got to
That's
be like a romantic lead, like my size, my look, like, and there was no comment on my size. There was no comment on it being, oh, isn't it crazy? She's falling in love. None of that. It was just, I got to come on stage, stand on zero, and belt out a song about how beautiful I am. Like, it was so healing in a lot of ways. And yeah, I'm really grateful for that experience.
I'm really grateful for that experience too. Having listened to the recording, you sound so great.
Thanks.
And I'm not trying to be like a sappy Sapperstein on here, but it's important. Like, especially with
Yeah.
everything going on in the world lately,
Yeah.
it's the kind of representation that, from what I understand about that show, that existed in so many ways. Like, you know, trans representation and
Hmm.
people of color, and yeah, like
Rejecting the
giving
binary
rejecting the
and
binary. That is truly, I mean, everything that I've seen of your show, I was so many times like feeling chills of this feeling of, wow, I've always wanted to see this.
yeah.
I've always wanted to go to the theater
Yeah.
and see what I'm seeing right now, and to have it happen in so many different ways is so exciting and so cool. And I think it sent an electric shock like through
Yeah.
the rest of the world. Even those of us in LA who didn't get to see it heard about it. And
Well, all of those things you mentioned are rooted in joy and celebration in the show, not turmoil, not pain, not anguish, not struggle, but discovery and celebration. And that's what felt so revolutionary, which makes me sad that that's revolutionary. Um, and you really felt the audience, the fan base that we built with that show was so beautiful, and that's what you really felt was important. What was hard was, the Times was really rude to us in their review. What's crazy is like Entertainment Weekly on their grid had us on highbrow and like incredibly entertaining, and we had some amazing reviews that said we were brilliant. And then you have, some not great ones, and you have like Ben Brantley being so mean. Like, he had super transphobic remarks about Peppermint
I remember that.
and her performance and that character. And also, I felt very fat phobic comments about me. He didn't have anything to say about my performance other than that I was loud and that I lumbered around the stage. Um, and something else that I was like, whoa, okay, this is like, these are like fat words. Like, it's not even veiled. Like it was so hurtful and insulting. And I know for a fact what show he was at. And also in that review, he said that we all acted like we had somewhere else to be. And nothing could have been further from the truth. He walked in knowing what he wanted to say
Mm-hmm.
because it was a Saturday matinee and the house was filled. And it was one of the most responsive, excited. The laughs were loud. I remember we have to wait for things that it was just, and that's what our show was, especially when you had people in that room that like, oh my God, like it just was this, like everybody was on fire. And that cast is one of the most talented, brilliant group of people I've ever come into contact with. And one thing I will say about all of us is because of that review and other things, and people didn't know what we were and what we represented. And I think there were a lot of mixed things with, doesn't matter. The point is that a lot of people didn't know what was happening and they didn't come. And for those that came, they loved it so hard. They loved it so faithfully. They came to the stage where I met them so many times, bringing new people. It was moving. We knew what we were doing and how it was moving people. And one of our producers, this amazing woman named Louise Gund, who lives in Oregon, basically just fought to keep us open because she knew how important the show was. And everybody was like, oh, you're going to close in August. And, you know, we made it over 6 months. We made it to January, which was a feat because some days the houses were small. And that's so hard in a comedy. And it's so
Yeah.
hard, like, you know, somebody told me there's a bootleg out there. And I was like, and I started to watch a little bit of it, but I could tell the pace is like faster. And I was like, I can't watch this because I think it was a quieter day. And I don't even know. I haven't been able to watch it because it just, I loved it so much. And, you know, you have feelings about things, but I've heard it's good. I just didn't get past like the first scene. But I was like, I can't do it. And I was also wearing my heels, so I know it was early in the process because they ruined my feet and I switched to flats. But
That's progressive right there. Being like,
okay,
I'm the leading lady and I'm walking around in flats.
we're cutting it, folks.
We're cutting it.
You want me or you want the feet? Up to you. And they were all amazing. And Arian Phillips is like, God, her costumes are gorgeous. But all that to say, no matter what size our house was, and because it breaks your heart because you love what you're doing so much, and you are meeting these people that are having their lives rocked by seeing this on stage and writing us letters and fan art and all these things that it's like, you have changed my life. I hope you know this. So many people that found, I had so many different young girls tell me that like they came out to their parents because of Pamela and Mopsa and all these things that it just was so, so powerful. And when you come out and there's just, it's a small house and you kind of have to go, okay, this is breaking my heart. Are we going to close tomorrow? Like, it's just an emotional roller coaster of, let's just do the show. Let's be here and do the show for these people. And they were always, even the smallest of houses though, were the most beautiful houses. Like they were so receptive and I just felt like they were with us. So it might as well have been fully packed because that's the responses we would get.
Yeah.
So it's weird because it was the most joyful time of my life. It was also some of the hardest times of my life because, you know, we would have meetings with cast members being like, can we talk with producers? Can we figure out how to change our marketing? Can we, you know, Peppermint was like, can we get some naked boys out in Times Square with flyers to our show? Because that's what we should do. Can we market this like a drag show? Like, you know, not, you know what I mean? Not a drag show, but like, can we go and do a set at a drag night at a bar?
Yeah.
Can we go to this convention? You know, like, so we were trying as hard as we could to be like, I know once they get here, but people need to know to get here. So that was a lot of the experience, but that's also, I think, what brought us all together so intensely because we believed in what we were doing and we believed in each other. And the people I met, I still, you know, I have some fans that then followed me to any other thing I did. And I just makes my heart so like happy to see their faces because they remind me of like that experience and like their deep, supportive love meant the world. So, yeah, it was great. Some people are like, you're ahead of your time. Had like, we see it's like, but you know what? We were when we were. And I think it mattered to a lot of people who saw it when they saw it, and it changed their lives for a reason. And yeah, so I'm grateful for all of it.
And ahead of your time is such an interesting comment. I always find, because that really just means that you are in your time. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
showed up. Like,
yeah, yeah,
okay, sure, maybe it didn't run for 20 years, but that, so maybe that is where they're coming from with that comment. But like, no, you came
yeah,
right when people needed it. And
yes,
man, that stuff about the review really breaks my heart and really is just so upsetting. And I really hope we can learn from that in this year or more while Broadway is shut down. We've
yeah,
been talking a lot about how we have to change a lot of things for Black representation on Broadway, and I hope that that happens when it reopens. And I mean, the transphobic comments in that review and the fatphobic comments in that review are so deeply harmful to
hmm
everyone. To
to
everyone.
everyone beyond us. But a chubby little girl picking that up and reading that and like, wow, I thought it was okay, wow. Or uh, someone
And
who is finding their gender identity does not fit the binary, and then the way he flagrantly mispronoun like misidentifies both Peppermint and her character, and then makes a joke about it is so horrible. Oh,
it's
makes me so
so
mad.
it's so he's if people are saying you are ahead of your time, that show is ahead of his time because he's behind the times. Literally
Yes.
behind the New York Times.
Well,
He
not anymore. He quit.
did he quit?
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, that is
And people are like, "Oh no,"
time.
and I'm like, "No,
No, no, no.
you know
It
what? Bye," because it was so unbelievable to me, and I wish it's that kind of stuff where it's like, our producers were very kind about it. And we're like, we're gonna be above this, and we are all like, "Can we like call this out? Can we like?" It was so bad that like fans did and people did that Brantley had to issue an apology, and he
I
doesn't do
remember
that.
that. Yeah.
Um, but I wish we had just been like, I don't know though, because there's no answer to anything why things happen the way they do. Uh,
But
but it made me mad.
I'm glad that you're bringing it up, and I'm glad that I mean I'm fucking sorry that that happened to you and to the whole cast and to everyone, to the people who read it, because like you're saying, people like so many young girls have waited so long to have
Mm-hmm.
representation that
Yep.
you gave them on stage, and that's so special. So to have this like system where this is the quote unquote the review that like everybody
Yeah.
is supposed to give a
Yeah.
shit about
Yeah.
is not real anymore. Like we are
No.
starting to tear away at that, but it
Also, art is subjective. Even if he hated it, you can hate it. That's what I would tell people. I'm like, I don't even care if you don't care for something. I love things that people hate, and I
yeah,
hate things that people love. But it's
yeah,
about respect, it's about tone. It's also, you could have found a million things to review kindly about every single person's performance, Spencer Lift's choreography, Michael Mayer's direction, Aaron Phillips' costumes. All of these things were like brilliant, but again, subjective. But I'm like, you couldn't find anything. Okay.
I've taken a
It just makes
hard
me mad.
pivot from the theater world into comedy writing in the last like 2 years. And one thing I've really learned about comedy and about writing, and something I'm continuously working on with myself, but especially as a gay person, something I'm really trying to accomplish, and I wish he would learn at his age. You don't have to be mean to
No.
be funny, and you don't have to be rude or biting
Yeah.
to have a strong point of view.
Yeah.
Like you can say, I've been recapping Drag Race for Screen Rant, and a lot of times I'll watch the show and I'll write something and then I'll look back at what I wrote, and like you're saying, I'm like I'm like maybe that's mean, like maybe I can find a different way to say that. And we're not always gonna in comedy, you're always gonna be like near the line, right? You're always going to be
Yeah.
like figuring out what's going to surprise people, and but it is literally your job as a writer. I know he's not a comedian, but he is a writer whose whole thing is critiquing and having a point of view. He did that cheaply and badly. Like, that's point blank what it is. Like, if a bunch of people are offended by what you've said, it's not just, it's definitely not that people are sensitive. It's that
Yeah.
you didn't do as good of a job as you could have done.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's what he learns, and I hope that that's what a lot of people, not just him, like every reviewer, every theater audience member, every person who sees the show and then leaves and is thinking about the negative things that they saw, I hope that this time helps us figure out that, like, we're so lucky to
Yeah.
even have it existing at all. So we
Yeah.
need to focus on, like, what is great about what we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my that's my thought on that. But
I'm with you.
I'm so glad that it happened, and I can't wait to
Yes.
see what's next for you. Um,
Same.
and with that said, I have another special question for you.
Okay.
I I have been a fan of yours since way before Head Over Heels. From, like, I feel like every time I go to 54 Below, you are singing
Yeah.
there, and I'm always
There
like,
was a time I was like, so I think I did like 9 concerts in 1 month, and someone was
that's
like, "What?"
crazy.
I'm like,
That's
"It's true."
actively crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want, for any, like, young people listening to this, because I've never been on Broadway, but I think a lot of the same things that you love. And I figured out my own way to make this career work for me, and make money doing what I love, making people laugh and talking about theater. And you, before you were a Broadway star, were already a star. And you did such a good job of carving out your own path for such a long time, of, like, making sure people in New York City knew who you were and knew that you had the chops. Do you
Mhm.
have advice for the children on how to champion yourself?
I mean, it's an active choice for
Boom.
sure. Um, People that are like born just being like, "Aren't I brilliant?" It's like, oh God, what's that feel like? Also, please never talk to me. um, they're
A
like,
psychopath.
you're gonna murder someone.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. To me, like the active choice to love yourself is an active choice, babe. Um, and finding, what makes you special, what makes you, and like embrace who you are at your core. Like if you're out here trying to be somebody else, you're not going to be as good a version of them as they are of themselves. So why don't you just be the best version of yourself? um when I had like moved to New York, I had just had many different things, and I kind of lost myself, to tell you the truth, and I lost my belief in myself, and I had to get into therapy, which is helpful, and to learn how to love me again, and to think I have something to offer. And it might not be an easy path, and it might not be, I don't look like this, and I can't dance like that. And what do I bring to the table? And who am I at my core that makes me feel like I have something to give when I sing a song? And so I had to do that first, which I think is the biggest key to it all. And then it became a big yes game. If there was an opportunity to do something, I said yes. I did it all. I did every concert known to man. I did them when I had the smallest part to sing, not a full solo, like that. I was meeting people, networking, and showing up and doing, like, it's funny. Katie Thompson, who is an amazing singer-songwriter who I've been obsessed with for forever. I was doing a concert where she had a song in it that she had written, somebody was performing, and Adam Guan had a song in the show that he had asked me to do, and it was this big group number called like Security, and it's on YouTube if you want to find it. And I had I think 2 little solo lines. excuse me, got a burp.
Let it out. Let it
Oh
out.
God. But the song is written, it's like in a tenor key and it's for men. And we were having our rehearsal. And I remember the music director saying, because it was ladies and men, you know, it was like a good mixture of us. And he said, if gals, if you want to take it up the octave, feel free to, if it's like too low or whatever. And I could hit it in the lower octave, but it just wasn't splashy. I thought, you know, I'm doing a one night concert and this is a night of a bunch of composers showing their work. This is a chance for me to be on a stage and be me and have a bunch of composers see Bonnie. And if I've been approved to sing up the octave, I'm going to sing up the octave. And so we were rehearsing it. We were like in a small room. I think there was like 8 of us or something in that number. I might have exaggerated. I don't know. And so I was kind of head voicey with it. And he was like, well, like, I don't want it to sound like super like pretty like that. And I was like, oh, I'll belt it. I was marking. You want me to belt it? And it was like an EF situation. And he was like, okay. And so then we did it again and I was like a full belt, but I made it into a moment because it was like finding piss in an elevator and you're like, and then they were like, yeah, that we'll keep that. And, but because I did that, it's funny because on the YouTube clip, there's laughter in the audience because it's sort of ridiculous. Now I got approval. Don't go rogue, kids. Get approval and make it character motivated. I hate when people sing just to hear themselves sing. I don't want riffs and options if it's not character driven. Okay.
Don't whistle tone on Being Alive unless the director
I don't need it. I don't need it. And I don't need a million riffs just because you can. Is it motivated? Actor first. So anyway, they were motivated. But because of that, Katie Thompson was like, hey, come here. We're working together. Honestly. And from that, she's not like a dear friend that I've like collaborated with several times because of that one concert.
There you go.
Because it showed up and showed me. And again, don't be selfish, kids. Don't go nuts. Make it work. And it worked.
Make it work. I fucking love that.
Tim Gunn it.
Make it work.
Make it work.
I love what you said. I think young people often get really confused about this idea because I've sometimes done like a workshop about creating your own work at colleges. And what I say to them is like, because that's so true, right? Like love yourself but don't be a psychopath.
Don't be a psychopath.
Don't be like, I'm the best. But what I say to them so often when I give these talks about like championing yourself, they often say like, I don't want everyone to think I'm cocky. I don't want everyone to think I like have a huge ego. And so what I always say is like, if you think of it like this, if this is, I'm obsessed with myself, this is too far. Yeah. And this is low self-esteem and I don't like myself at all.
Yeah.
If this is way too far, don't go this far. You want to aim to land closer to here.
Yeah.
Like because naturally, if you're already asking me, I don't want to sound cocky, that means you are naturally landing on this
I don't think you're gonna.
If you even have the
go nuts.
Yeah, if you have the presence of mind to be like, I don't want to sound cocky, then you know you're not going to be an egomaniac. So push yourself to start telling people that you have what it takes and that you're good. Like, that's how you champion yourself.
I think it's also just keeping humility, keeping humbleness, you know, that somebody, I remember in college, we were told something like, there's going to be a lot of people that are more talented than you, but not many that can outwork you. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to have to work hard and not think I'm God's gift to the universe, even though I have talent. And you're like, okay, I believe in the talents I've been given, but also a sense of humility about being, there's 5 other girls just as good as you, if not better. So calm down, calm down. And that's what also tells me what I mean about special. What is it at the core of you that is different, that is going to be set you apart from somebody else? Like, I'm not the best riffer in the world. People are going to riff around me for days. So it's like finding what you're good at and, you know, and going with that. sure, I can belt high and give you like actor driven singing. That's what I'm going to focus on, as
Yeah.
opposed to I'm not the best at all of that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But embracing what you are really good at. And, and because I also remember that same teacher who said that had said something like she'd gone off to Yale and she was like one of the youngest people to get into this MFA program. And I'm going to misquote it, but it was something like early on, a teacher was like, this shy thing, this like worried to do this, it's got to go because I need you to like stop stopping yourself because of being worried about things. Is like, because if you're not giving me all of you, I feel it. So it's also like finding humility, but also finding the courage to just be fully you and fully present and fully giving whatever you have to give, and loving any chance that you get to show it. God, I miss showing it. Like as I'm like sitting around, you know, I was doing concerts all the time. I realize how much I miss singing in a room of people
Yeah. And I
and not to
think
a screen.
a lot of times not to a screen. I know I miss doing comedy live so bad. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times people will ask, okay, people often give me the advice, be unique, be yourself, be you. Like, what if I'm having a hard time finding what that is? And what I always say to that is, what it sounds simple, but like, what brings you joy? Like, what do
Yeah.
you love to do? So like, you gave the great examples of like what you're really good at, which is belting really high, great actress. Okay, maybe riffing isn't the strongest suit that I have, but what of these things that I am good at really make me happy?
Yeah.
And that's who you are. I really think it's like the stuff that you love is who you are. Like, I love interviewing musical theater performers. And like that, I'm a musical theater nerd, and
Yeah. Me too.
finding and I like didn't do it for a long time. I was mostly interviewing comedians,
Yeah.
because I was trying to be something specific for other people. And now that I'm doing this, I'm having so much fun because I just get to be myself. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, a really, to piggyback on what you're saying, is like, that's how you figure out how to shine with your unique self. It's like, what is your point of view? What do you believe? What is joyous to you?
Yeah.
Um, Disturbed Numb One Fan. I'm so sorry if I butchered your your handle, but thank you for watching. Asks,
Yeah.
when did you realize that you had such an impressive range? Were you young when you were like, oh damn,
Oh, damn.
oh
Can you
damn,
imagine
I can
a
sing off
5-year-old?
there?
Oh, damn. Did you hear that twinkle, twinkle, mama? I don't know why that was the song. Um, yikes. I always sang. I grew up singing and in church and stuff, and I loved that. I guess I grew up listening to Mariah and Celine and Whitney and Reba.
Yes,
Like
yes, yes,
those
yes.
were my queens.
Yeah,
They don't need last names.
yeah, no,
Um, and I always sang along to them. And I remember like, oh, like, like, oh, you, you sound good on that. But if you gave me like a new sheet of music, I wouldn't like sing it like Mariah Carey. I would like just be like a pretty little mixy head voice mix situation. Um, it wasn't until college when I was working on my resonators for acting, like Kristen Linklater voice technique, that I was like, this kind of sounds like singing, and oh, this kind of sounds like a belt, and oh, that doesn't hurt, and maybe I can. That I started playing around with how I could sing some kind of big Broadway numbers, and still having that sensibility of, I'm obsessed with the Mariah Carey head voice, directly full belt, directly head voice, the like crazy switches that she does.
yes,
Um, so I feel like honestly, kind of singing along with her for a long time somehow gave me a very innate sense of control of my voice because it's crazy to do that back and forth. Um, but it was like it was later, it was in college, it was as I was testing the waters of, because I went to school for acting, I didn't go for musical theater, so it wasn't a big focus on what I sang in my range. It was just like what I wanted to listen to, and I was like, I want to sing Sideshow. Like, I was like, let's you want to sing Sideshow with me? Okay, well, I need to belt it then. So hold on. Um and so it was like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I guess that's
I love that. We are just about at time, so we're gonna go over to the Patreon where we're gonna play some slumber party games. I'm gonna throw some would you
I love
rather
slumber
at
parties.
you. It's gonna
Oh.
be so fun. Some Mary F kills, perhaps. Oh my God, Aaron Troy. Hi, Aaron. Says
Hey,
hi.
Aaron.
He saying that he did Urinetown with you in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
And I saw in an interview that you saw Urinetown when you were like a tween in New York City on
Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
I did too.
I came in with my mom. Yeah.
I was like 12 years old, and I just remember being like, that's a really good example of people being like, Urinetown ahead of its time. No, it was in the time.
Oh, God,
It just is really applicable now.
Yeah.
But it was applicable then
Yeah.
too. Our eyes just as a full society, our eyes weren't as open to it as they should have been.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that musical is my favorite. It's so genius. I love it.
I love it. I was Soupy Sue in that production of Urinetown,
Oh.
and I made her really crazy. Really crazy. At one point, when they're like, you gonna do that? I was like, like just weird choices. It was really fun. Like I was like stuck in the toilet, like running out late, like for something, and like wiping down my leg, like, oh, it's going down my leg. Like just choices, babe.
Good choices, babe. Where can the people find you if they want to follow you?
On Instagram, I'm at Belting Bonds, Bons, and on Twitter, I'm at Belting Bonnie.
And if you want to watch some more bonus interview with Bonnie, you can click the Patreon below. It'll be up in about
Click
an
it.
hour. Click it. Thank
10
you so
hours.
much. An hour. Sorry.
I was like, how long are we doing this? Okay.
An hour. 10 hours.
So nervous.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I'm sorry if I
Thanks.
didn't get to all of your questions, but thank you so much. And
Thank
we'll see
you.
you over on the Patreons.